Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. This is greetings, brothers and sisters. This is August, Monday, September 16th, 2024. So I started the majority of this video on, I believe, Saturday, and edited it yesterday. And this is going to be an epic video, like just epic. And I'm going to focus on how stupid and low consciousness, the low consciousness that both sides, Trump and Kamala Harris and her team, think everybody is. Their campaigns are just so remedial, right? That it's not like mind blowing how stupid they think the American people are, and how they are pandering to what seems like mentally handy capable people. And nothing says it more than this crazy lady here. Remember when I said how crazy her eyes were? That she has just these crazy eyes. And this guy, was calling everybody weird, and this is his frickin' wife. Somebody sent me this last night. So, there's another Trump assassination that happened. Like, I'd already pretty much finished this video. And then Trump thing happened. And then last night, somebody sent me this. And it is mind-bogglingly bad. So let's just show you. I mean, with Trump assassination, Kamala Harris gives a horrible interview. Another fake, Golfgate thing that happened with Trump. And Kamala Harris gives this interview where she just quotes from her own commercials and her own talking points throughout. Like, nothing is a spontaneous answer. It's bad. And with all of that, this is what I'm leading with. Like, this is I already had an introduction, which you're going to hear in a moment. But I wanted to start here because this is my favorite part. This is like spectacular. Let's bring it back here.
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
Wait, you need to practice that? I think I've mastered that. I haven't even done it yet, and I have mastered that already. Like, I can do it right now. Right now, I'm doing it in the air. I can do that. Having seen it one time, I'm already an expert at what you're frickin' trying to tell people to do here. You just move your arm in a circular motion, and you say, turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the page. Like, this is, you need to practice. Let's start that again, because that is unfrickin' believable already.
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page. Oh, pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn.
Pretty good. They're only pretty good at that? Like, how handy capable are your mentally handicapped capable are your audience member that they were only pretty good at that the first time they tried it? Pretty good. Like, what are the people doing here? She's supposed to teach high school. So they met, according to their story, is that they shared a room. Like, he was teaching on one side, doing his Richard Simmons flamboyant, loud stuff. And she was teaching whatever he was teaching. She was teaching, I think, English on the other side. I think she's an English teacher, if I'm remembering correctly. And this is at high school level. She wasn't teaching kindergarten kids. She wasn't teaching mentally handy capable kids, right? She's teaching, high school kids. And this is where these are adults. These are grown-ass people here.
Turn the page. And we're going to turn the page. All right, so I'm going to be watching you because when I see
Wisconsin. It's pronounced Wisconsin. So I just looked it up. I'm editing this now. And I'm getting ready. There's more stuff coming in about, all this stuff. It's just, I just watched the news a little bit, ate breakfast. She is an English teacher. I was right about that. And I was thinking, I have this useless information in my mind, wherever my storage, whatever it is, right? My memory. I know Gwen Walsh's career. Like, why is that? Why do I, why do I have to suffer that? Like, why do I have this information? You know, like I know she was an English teacher, and this is just, I mean, let's get back to it.
I'm going to watch you nationally on TV because this is a pretty important place, and Minnesota helped you practice with this. You just show me this. Turn the page, right? Turn the page. And you know what else that looks like? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Donald Trump. We are turning the page. 52 days and we are turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump. But I...
Holy. Wow. And you had the balls to call JD Vance and Trump weird. This guy right here. Like, no wonder a kid's all messed up in the family. I mean, look at this crazy MNFer here. I'll just put this on mute and I'll just play it here. So this is how stupid they think people are. Now, first of all, if they're at this rally, unless they're paid infomercial people, which I guess they're rolling out, they spend most of their money on paying these infomercial people. This crazy dingbat, right? My wife always calls Kamala a dingbat. Like, this woman is the epitome of a dingbat. If you saw the show All in the Family, right? Like, she is just bat boop crazy, and you know, this is how she's talking to these people in the audience who are already voting for Donald Trump. Apparently, I mean, why wouldn't they be? So the only way this is going to affect anybody is it's going to go viral meme-wise. When people are like, oh my God, this guy's crazy wife. Like, she's the kind of woman, like, you know, she's having tea with you, and then, like, you open up her fridge and there's, like, heads in the refrigerator. Like, she is really nuts. She's, like, certifiable freaking crazy and stupid. This is how stupid they think they are. Like, let's practice this. I didn't get it. She showed me again how to do it because, you know, turn the pit. Look at, he's doing it. Do it, Tim. Do it. Tim's like, oh my God. Look at, he's laughing. Look at him. Look at him laughing there. Look at him laughing. Oh my God, it's so wonderful. Look at him. Look at him. And who's this woman over here? What does she have to do with it? She looks just classic Wisconsin lady there. Look at him. I was saying, remember, and you know what it's like? Turn the page, right? Turn the page to it. It's like you're waving, bye-bye, Donald Trump. Bye-bye, Donald Trump. This is absolutely spectacular. Like, this is the level of consciousness here, right? And these people, you know, this guy's got a coach sign over here, and she's screaming, turn the page. And you know what? Joe Biden's president. If they're going to turn the page on anybody, it's Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Donald Trump is not president. Like, if he was, you guys are all pretending that he is because he's dominated your existence. He's the centerpiece of your life and the Democratic Party. Look at him. Look at Tim Pulse. Hey, look at him. Like, you know, you let her out of the freaking cage. I mean, like, she's got some. I wish they do a reality TV show, this family. I hope, like, when they lose, if they lose, they do a reality TV show and they just stick some cameras in that house and we see what's really going on here. That's what happens when your dude is sucking boop all the time and you're in, like, you know, this is that's what happens when you're a beard wife and you know, you do things like this. Turn the page. Turn the page. Bye, Donald Trump. Turn the page. Bye, Donald Trump. And so that's spectacular. So this is the kind of video this is going to be, right? I mean, the Kamala Harris interview is equally bat boop. And so this is the low consciousness. This is what's being sold out there. And not just by the Democrats, but Trump has always been pandering to dumb people. It's like, this is what America is. Like, if these are, you know, the kind of things you have to do to get elected, the way you have to talk to people, then we're totally screwed. Like, why are we even trying? Like, if this is, you know, this is the level of consciousness of the American people, then why are we even trying anymore, right? Like, this is it. This is what, you know, this idiocracy has already happened years and years ago. Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. I want to do the introduction in a moment, but I want to preface it with two things here. So, more evidence that Trump won the debate. Trump leads Harris in Michigan after debate as black voters help boost ex-president. Um, the thing about the debate was that there was going to be like a period of time where people digested it and see, how they felt about Kamala Harris. And there's an aversion factor to her. Like you get an aversion to Kamala Harris, because there's just some kind of cringe, like, feeling inside after you get a big dose of her. And that's what happened when she ran for president in 2020. People maybe not realizing, oh my God, I dislike this, right? Maybe while they're watching the debate, it didn't take full effect, right? But it says this new polling for the battleground Wolverine state suggests the Tuesday debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump didn't help Democrat in the chase for 15 electoral votes, though the Republicans' performance was widely panned by pundits. Who cares what pundits say, right? Pundits are like worthless, meaningless, and nobody cares about them. If news events happen and you come to me or somebody else in the truth community and you go to a number of people just getting different perspectives, like you have your own opinion and you're going to see what other, critical thinking people say. But people go, oh, something big just happened. Let me go to CNN and let the pundits tell me what to think about it, right? Like those are the most worthless people. They go to CNN or Fox or MSNBC and have these people tell them what to think, right? Like you can tell a person what level they are on who they go to when something happens, like who they go to listen to for, alternative opinions or opinions about what happened. And you can define their level of consciousness by their sources, what they consider reliable sources. The Insider Advantage survey conducted Wednesday and Thursday morning shows the former president with a 49 to 48 lead in Michigan. The advantage that includes a 5-point lead with independents per pollster Matt Towery. That's not the only surprise Towery finds. The poll also showed a slightly higher amount of support for Trump among African Americans, around 20%, which may be an aberration or reflection of the higher African American numbers seen in recent national surveys, such as the New York Times survey, Towery says. Like, this was the black men that she was supposed to be winning over and didn't, right? Because she's just so off-putting, like resting bitch face and just, all of it. And so it was about men, like she has to win over men. Women, conservative women will never vote for her. But liberal women will because she's a woman. That's all that it takes. Same women that voted for Hillary Clinton. But she doesn't have enough to win. And I want to talk about this more later in the video. Because Trump has some real issues too with Laura Loomer and some of the stupid stuff he does. But here's the thing I really want to focus on.
It's being destroyed. Our country is being destroyed. Do we know that? Not going to be for long. Honestly, November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country. I really believe that.
The most important day in the history of our country. Because you elect him, it'll be the most important thing ever done in the history of America. Like he makes these. This is part of the problem with Trump. Let's watch a little bit more of this, and then I'll get back to the.
And today she had a terrible interview. Did you see the interview she had today? She can't talk. She can't talk. She can't talk without maybe getting the answers. What's the story with that? Did she get the questions? Do you think? So I hear she got the questions, and I also heard she had something in the ear, a little something in the ear. No, Kamala, do this. Say it this way, Kamala. Okay, be quiet. Too many people watching. She had a terrible interview today with the Philadelphia TV station, a big word salad. She just kept talking. She had no idea what the hell she was saying. She reminded me of...
All right, wait, so let me go find that for later. But I want to talk about him saying the most important day in the history of our country. So you go through stages when you're a truther and when you're a truth seeker. And not everybody's a truth seeker. Some people are just disgruntled, or they feel like it's they feel like a loser, and they feel justified in some kind of, a way that they're out, people who feel that they're ostracized or they're outcasts. People who are Republican, they watch the media and they feel like their group is being targeted, and so they become truthers only in the sense to prove their original beliefs right, but they don't change. There's so many people who are right-wing truthers who are Trumpers that haven't changed from their original beliefs, right? And so there's a certain personality type. It's multiple personality types. People who want to know the truth, right? So if you're given an option, and, I talk about how difficult it is to read the ingredients, because once you wake up, like in the Matrix movie, once you take the red pill, everything gets way harder. I mean, all of us have this, thought, maybe they'd like to go back to the Matrix every once in a while. It'd be so easy to just go back to sleep, right? Because your life doesn't get easier. And so it just comes down to, do you want to be deceived, or do you want to go on some sort of journey to where you're finding the truth, right? Finding why you're here, what's the real purpose? Not just going into the lies, but going into the light, like not going through the darkness and, swimming through the cesspool and looking at things, go, aha, I found this and I found that, turning over every rock and finding every slimy creature, but actually seeking the truth. Like, life here is a deception. Our system, the people who run it, are lying to us. And what's the truth? And, ultimately becomes a spiritual truth, which I talk about quite often here. And so the people who have this type of personality, when you wake up to certain events, you go through these different phases. And when you first wake up, your thought is, wow, when everybody finds out what I just found out, when everyone hears the information I just heard, if everyone watched this video, the world would be transformed because we all would realize the truth of it, right? When you wake up to the system being corrupt, but then you start telling your friends and family, and they're looking at you like you're crazy, especially now, where truthers have been so much demonized, and you realize it's just the opposite. Not only are people not, going to see the thing the way you see it, but they're actually going to push back against it. And there is a energetic movement to suppress this information, and these people go out of their way not to hear it. They'll do anything to avoid it, and it fractures relationships and all these things, right? And so that was the original Alex Jones model, where there was an information war, which we know has been lost, is a complete failure, because it was predicated on the idea that when people received this information, they would wake up and take down the system, and the system could be rebuilt or could be made into a good system then, once we got rid of these deep state evil people. And then once you dive into it, you realize, it's just a simplistic, childish way to look at it, because the whole system is corrupt and evil, and we're a part of that system. So there's no changing the system. The system is a demonic system, and there's no fixing it. And once you realize that, and you realize that most people don't want to wake up, and you realize if you did wake everybody up, it wouldn't fix the system. It would collapse the system, because the system is based in deception. So you need sheeple. If we didn't have sheeple, the system would collapse. In fact, we all have to, even when we know the system is corrupt, we have to play along. We all have to go along with it, right? And I've learned to accept this and be grateful for it, because I realize that the waking up and the truth seeking is not for everybody. And not everyone can be a spiritual person. Not everybody can connect to God within. And most people can move a little bit, change a little bit. Some people can't change at all. But very few people can rework their whole internal world and, rearrange the way, the lens in which they see the world, and still remain sane, right? Like, very few people can do the whole, do the big kahuna, can do the whole enchilada, right? And there's a good reason for that. I kind of understand some of it. Maybe some of it I don't understand. But, there's just levels to consciousness, and not everybody is on a level yet and has enough experience with human life to make the kind of wholesale changes you have to make to become a spiritual person and change your whole orientation to existence. But also you have to have a job, and you have to interact with sheeple, and you have to, there's times you can't talk about what you believe, right? Like with your family members, your parents. Like I didn't talk to my mother about any of this because she didn't need to hear it. She was 90 years old, right? 80 something years old, 90 years old when I started to wake up. So like I couldn't talk to her about it. I didn't want to. Why upset her when she isn't going to be able to do shit about it? And, what's changing wasn't really for her, right? But in that, there becomes this us against them, this sheeple against the truthers, right? Us against the establishment. And we're being demonized and targeted. And, there's this adversarial type situation. And so when somebody comes along and is in the mainstream, persona, I mean, Kennedy, RFK Jr. a little bit was an example of this. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a better example. And this person, Laura Loomer, which I'll get into these two nightmares of, people. When they start, all the people that are QBs and people who are even, woke people who, have similar, at least we have some common beliefs, right? We have more in common with them than we do with sheeple in some ways, right? Even though we're not, our personalities might not be the same, and our orientation to life is quite different, but we share the same sort of fight that we're having, to some extent. And so it's very easy to fall on those like Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, maybe better examples to some extent. But the people who are like that, especially the ones that come off as crazy, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Laura Loomer, the ones who are like batshit crazy, Donald Trump's another example of this. The people that are doing damage to, making our point of view sound stupid. I mean, all the QBs, all the flat earthers, not all of them, but the ones that act in a way that, just pushes people away. And it helps the establishment, other people, to put us in a box of crazy conspiracy theory nut jobs. They want to profile us. Alex Jones is probably the biggest example of this. And they act in a way that's completely counterproductive to us all. They're not our friends, and we don't even, we shouldn't even want them on our team, right? It's like when you were a kid and there's one kid who sucks so bad at sports and he's always like the last one picked, and you feel bad for the kid, but you have him on your team and you're going to lose. You groan and you say, I'll take Jimmy, because you're picking teams with one of your friends. You go and you take the best kids of your friends first, whatever it is, right? You take the best kids and kids that you're friends with. And then, there's a couple of kids left. And there's always that one kid, if you get him on a team, he's going to completely sabotage any chance of winning, right? Years ago when I worked at my first treatment center, with kids who were, sex offenders, these kids were called sexually reactive. They had been sexually abused and they had abused other kids. And there was one kid, he was kind of a farm boy, and was kind of innocent to some extent, but he suffered so much horrific abuse. He was like, he'd get psycho and get like evil, like he was crazy. And he was, like a 14-year-old kid that was medicated so heavily, he could barely function, right? And he was overweight, he was uncoordinated, and he was on this medication. And we were playing kickball, and I think I was the pitcher. And he got up to, again, we're playing kickball with a kid who's 14 or, 13 or 14, but kind of a big kid. And I rolled the ball, whoever pitched the ball, I think it was pretty sure it was me. And I rode it so slowly, it took about 30 seconds just to reach him. Like the thing was barely moving when he went to kick it. Like there was the thing was so slow, it was not really a moving target. Like it was, just about to stop. Like it was so slow, it was about to stop. And he kicked over it, right? He missed it with his foot. We're playing fucking kickball, and the guy missed it with his foot because he's so heavily medicated. He took a few little uncoordinated steps, and then he rolled his foot over the ball, right? And then he rolled it back, and now his foot's on top of the ball, right? He missed the kick, and then his foot comes back, and the ball's going so slowly, it doesn't really move. So now he pulls his foot back, and it's right on top of the ball, And his momentum somehow, he's standing like it's like this unbelievably uncoordinated unathletic play. And he's now standing on top of the ball on one foot. And he doesn't have the athletic ability to kick the ball, never mind pull something like that off. And so now he goes like he flies in the air, and he comes down straight down on his knees, right? And one of the knees rips open we're playing on like a basketball court, like a cement basketball court outside. And his niece just starts gushing blood, and I'm like, holy fuck. I never seen anything that uncoordinated in my entire life. And now that he's got a cut, he's bleeding, it's a complete nightmare, right? Like it's paperwork and forms, and he's crying, and everyone, like the kids are, kids are laughing because these kids are, they're just horrible kids, but it's kind of funny. Like the adults are trying not to laugh because, no one's ever saw anything like this. And poor kid's so medicated, he's got this Thorazine shuffle, right? But that's what I'm talking about. Like that kid, we were playing soccer one time, and I was playing goalie. Like I was tired and whatever, the adults were supposed to be a part of the game, and we're trying to get the kids, involved and run them as much as possible so they didn't act out. And they, a lot of them were on medications at night, and because they would have, that's when they were abused when they were kids, and they would start flipping out at night, and it was a whole thing. But we found when we ran the kids, the best game was ultimate frisbee. The kids couldn't have physical contact because they're all little sex offenders, right? So it's a whole thing. And I'm in one goal. These were like a legitimate kids soccer field, and the ball comes rolling to me, and he was in the other goal, and I kicked the ball the length of the field, and it's rolling, and I'm like, he's not going to get it, and like I'm not like a great soccer player, but I'm a good athlete, whatever. And the ball rolls into the goal. It goes between his legs and his hands. It's just rolling really slowly by the time it reaches him. But he's that kind of kid, right? He's like a Laura Loomer or a Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you can see from what I'm going to present about Trump here, and a lot, and also to Kamala, they keep on pandering to the people that are already voting for them. They think they win when they talk about things that are just for the people that are hardcore supporters of theirs. And I'll give you an example when we talk about Kamala in the beginning here. And I'll give you another example with Trump and these other people. You have to bail on these people and your sort of extreme points of view, and you have to go to the middle where these morons who can't make up their frickin' minds haven't decided who to vote for yet, and you have to target those people. These are billion-dollar campaigns, and they have internal polling, and they have all kinds of systems and algorithms to figure out, the people who haven't voted yet, these demographics, these, handful of people in 10 small states, really 5 states, Pennsylvania being the big one, and figuring out what they want to hear and saying it to them because they're two-faced liars, and they can't even do that, right? Kamala couldn't do it during the debate. Trump was kind of trying a little bit, but then he just said the thing about the dog, and, don't say stupid shit, extreme stuff that your base wants to hear. Say things that the people who haven't voted want to hear, right? You're trying to win a frickin' election, and what you have is two losers. They're both seem to be self-sabotaging, or their campaigns are the most incompetent billion-dollar campaigns in the history. There's only been a short history of billion-dollar campaigns, starting with Hillary Clinton in 2016. So with that in mind, let's get into it here. Okay, so I was originally going to post this video of Kamala Harris being interviewed, which I will after I get to Golfgate, Trump, another one of these what appears to be some sort of fake assassination thing. I'm going to cover the initial press conference here, then maybe later on in the video tomorrow. Today's Sunday, September 15th, 7 o'clock at night. So I'm just doing a little late night video, tape, whatever it is I do here. So I just want to say a few things about this. And I'm going to get into what an absolute piece of shit Trump is. I've been saying that a lot the last couple of videos. Not just about him, but just about all this stuff. In terms of what he's done with these people, this Haitian people in Springfield, Ohio. And I get into Laura Loomer. Apparently they're, dating or something, it looks like, or there's just some sense of this thing, which is just, the kind of scumbag Trump is. And she's just so witch-like and a nightmare. But Trumpers were whining after the first, the ketchup gate. I've talked about how there's all these truthers apparently who are even raising the possibility that the ketchup gate, which is so fake and so WWE, is fake. Like they won't even question it. And as truthers, you got to question everything, especially something, after Trump did Operation Warp Speed, he was totally suspect. And just all the way he went out. I mean, he was always suspect, but, the way he went out the first time he lost in 2020, that's when he really revealed himself as a piece of shit. Like that was a watershed moment. But, this thing that happened with Trump and Ketchup Gate and then Band-Aid Gate, all these Trumpers were saying because the media demonized Trump so much, they caused this guy, the people who believe in the official story, they said that they've caused all this hatred against Trump for their coverage of Trump. But Trump has brought all of that on himself as well. Every bit of hate that Trump has gotten is stuff that he's cultured and cultivated and that he's nurtured. And so there's that. But the other piece to this is that Trump does this all the time with other groups of people. And he doesn't give a shit if it's true or not. So years ago, some guy copyrighted my videos. Some guy was like a pseudo-truther. I don't know if the guy still makes videos. But he was taking my whole videos and putting them up and monetizing them. And I didn't know who he was. I never heard of him. Apparently he watched my videos. And so I copyrighted him and he got a copyright strike. And the guy made a video saying that I was trying to take his channel down. Like I had no idea who he was. And this happened to me all the time. Like there's all these people, usually they were people from foreign countries who would just take my videos. I had a Beyonce Illuminati video about the Grammys or something. And I posted a video and it got like 300,000 views. And then someone took the video and it got 500,000 views. And they monetized it. And they were just, the whole channel was stealing other people's videos, right? And so like I had no idea who the guy was. And he made a video and we had shared audience. People who watch my videos also watched his. And he sent the people over to basically troll me and attack me like, some sort of like I was the person at fault. And so there was all these people. Like I went for a walk. We were in like Utah and we just got back from India and me and my kids went for a walk. We went for a hike and it was one of those days I had a headache. I was just kind of grumpy, didn't feel good. I came home and there was like 300 comments. All these people telling me I was a piece of shit and, they didn't check to see if what my side of the story was. I mean, some people watched me and watched this guy, and the way he framed it is, I knew who he was, and I was purposely taking his channel down because he stole my video, and he monetized it without my permission, right? And it was somehow I was the problem. And we went back and forth, and, I made videos, and my videos were truthful, and his were manipulative and dishonest. And, I banned a lot of people or whatever and told them get the F off my channel because I didn't need them. But it was totally unnecessary. And I realized what a bitch move it was to send people, like you have a responsibility to your audience and not to put them in harm's way, especially the way the truth community is. This is why I talked about Trump when he was at the Capitol Hill. You don't put people in harm's way. Like you have to look out for people and you don't give them misinformation. You don't fire them up. And you don't send them on a mission to fight your battles because you're too much of a puss to fight them yourself. And all these dopey people just believe this guy without giving it any thought, right? And I was like, well, good riddance, you're worthless anyway, because he was clearly in the wrong. The guy eventually apologized. He offered to pay me the amount of money that he would have had to pay a lawyer to, because he was losing his channel, because he had 3 other copyright strikes, 2 other ones because he was stealing people's videos and posting them without permission. He also he said that he wasn't monetizing the video, and I could clearly see there was ads on it. There was this thing they used to call mirroring. I don't know if they still call it. You can see that I have it in my description box. Don't mirror my videos. Don't copy my videos. Don't take my whole video and put it up and, like it's your own. And sometimes people would take my introduction off and they wouldn't even tell who it was video, which was even worse, right? Because it's just a dick move, right? You don't have, this is my creative content. And, to take the whole video and put it up and monetize it. And then my wife, we were like basically dating at the time, she found another video that the guy put out that was mine. So he had taken 2 of my videos and monetized them. And one of my viewers had told me about the first one. And YouTube has a thing that they do, where they they have a tool where you can find people who've taken your videos and clipped it or whatever, and take your whole videos and things. And so the guy offered me money and apologized right after doing all that, but I thought it was just completely like a bitch ass move, just a weak move on his part or anybody's part to manipulate your audience in this way, right? Like when you're talking to people about any of these subjects, and I'm very clear, and I have been for a while, I don't agree with trolling people. I don't agree with stalking people and slamming them on the comment section of their posts, because you don't know what a person's going through, and you don't know everything about that person or whatever it is, and it says a lot about you. It's not, never mind them. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe they deserve whatever bad things everybody deserves something, right? But it's not for us to administer it, because people all have to come to their own beliefs, and trying to force yourself and create more drama and more hate and more animosity on the internet and the world is like the worst possible thing you can do. And then you deserve everything you get because you're exacerbating the situation. It's not going to solve anything, and I don't respect it at all. But what I respect even less than that is people like Trump, who are people in power, and of course Kamala Harris as well, and all these people, news media people, who manipulate people and withhold facts and don't care about the truth and don't care about who they hurt, like Trump and these Haitian people. And it's just a bitch move, and it's a selfish move, and it's he's just a horrible little Lord Fauntleroy, little spoiled little punk Trump is, and he doesn't care. You have a responsibility for the truth, right? And if you're lying and manipulating and doing things to cause fear and exacerbate, and exploit these volatile times, right? All the volatile, you do all those kind of things. You're just a real piece of shit, and Trump is that. Like, just something about this thing with the Haitian people, and you have a responsibility to your audience to tell them the truth, especially when you pretend to be a truther or whatever he pretends to be, but he's not that. Kamala Harris is just a mainstream piece of shit, and everyone knows it. But Trump has flirted with the truth community, and lots of people think he's a truther, and all that stuff, right? So don't whine about Trump and whatever hatred's coming his way. He deserves every little bit of it, right? Because he's caused all this problems for other people, and he's doesn't care about anybody but himself. And we've seen it over and over again. So fuck that guy. So here's the story about this thing. This seems like apparently some guy snuck into his golf course and was had a AK-47 with a scope on it, and he got chased out and he ran off in his Datsun. And so let's get into it here. Okay, so this happened here. This is today's Sunday, September 15th. And I'm editing. I did the rest of the video that you're about to see and what you already heard earlier today. And then I was watching football, and there was a bulletin underneath the game saying, here, I'll just play this for you because it's not working. This is their press conference. This is the fucking FBI's press conference after a Trump assassination attempt. And this guy comes up, and no one can hear him. Like, it's not being recorded.
Mic check 1 2 3.
Associated Press. And so I don't know who they're talking to. This guy comes up.
Testing 1 2 3 3 2 1. Testing 1 2 3 3 2 1. Test. Perfect.
So I don't know if this is Associated Press problem or this is their problem. There they go, showing pictures.
Them till the arrival of the federal authorities. The search of the vehicle, looking for any weapons.
So I don't know. Let's see if they have somebody else has something, right? So MSNBC had the working mics here. So Associated Press posted the live feed when it wasn't working.
We are going to give you everything we have. Everything. All right? So when we get done...
Wait, you're going to give us everything you have? Your watch and your wedding ring?
Think about your questions, because we're not going to take a lot. And keep them to the information that you heard. Don't get into what ifs, and because of this, we're not going to go there, all right? So keep that in mind.
So he's pretty pissed off, coming in pissed off.
And we'll be good.
Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
So here we go. All right, 1:30 this afternoon. Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a
This is they want to make Trump look like a badass. Like, this helps Trump tremendously.
witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes.
He was in the bushes.
Jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a
He's driving a Nissan.
picture of the vehicle and the tag.
That was one hell of a citizen there.
It was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers.
People who read the license plate.
And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the witness that witnessed the incident, threw him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where
That's one hell of a citizen and eyewitness.
Guy is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope.
The scope. An AK with the scope.
2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had...
This is for Trump. Trump's going to ban assault weapons when he's president. This was the other part about it.
ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was
Yeah, the GoPro, he's filming it.
going to take pictures of.
A Nissan Maxima.
So those are being processed right now.
The guy was just, he was just a professional.
The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation.
So Trump's playing golf. Trump's playing frickin' golf here. And there's some guy sniper in the woods.
We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect.
With all the people who would vote for Trump who own weapons, right? All the Republican people that hate Kamala Harris, hate Joe Biden. The only people the people who are the guy that they're targeting is Trump, right? These people with these automatic weapons. Why are they targeting Trump and not the Democrats who want to steal their gun? I mean, these gun-loving right-wing people are Trump supporters for the most part, right? He has probably 90% of the gun advocate support, right?
We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's going to make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want
Here he is.
to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed. Following
What did he shoot? What kind of what did he get for a score today at the golf course? You think he could beat Biden?
protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Totally FBI looking dude.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is
Good afternoon.
Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident.
Okay, so we know where this is going. Again, this somehow works great for Trump.
Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
Okay, got more about the Trump shooting thing here. I just put the meme in. And look at Tim Walz. He sucks at it. Look at him do it. Watch Tim Walz. He does it too fast. He doesn't do a circle. He needs to practice. Tim can't even do it. He's like pre-mean. He pre-mean. He's getting too excited and he's like, watch him. Watch him. Oh, that's not turn the page. That's not quality, Tim. Jesus Christ, he has to practice. This dingbat is crazy. Beep, boop. And his wife, and he's got to practice, Tim. Okay, so we know a little bit about the alleged shooter in the Donald J. Trump second, the Golfgate here.
Well, I want to go to reporting from our Josh Campbell, who has been talking to his sources at the FBI and is learning that as we speak, Anderson, the investigation is now going global. What authorities are trying
It's going global. They got to go global.
To do is try to understand a little bit more about this man who ended up on that near that golf course.
Okay, so we know nothing about the first guy. He had no personality. They didn't know he donated money to both campaigns. He researched Biden talks and things because this is back when Biden was running, right? We know next to nothing about the first guy. And one of my viewers sent me a meme about why does Donald Trump never talk about the first guy? And I've been saying that forever. Donald Trump does not talk about, everything to Donald Trump is a conspiracy that's out to get him. He talks about the incompetence of government, and there was multiple fails. It was a complete failure by the Secret Service, and he praises the Secret Service, even though they did everything wrong, and they allowed a guy, based on the official story, to take multiple shots at him, and when they could have taken him out. Initially, because 9 minutes, they knew the guy was armed and on a roof, and they let the guy go. And then they rushed him out, letting him expose his head to a second shooter. I mean, all the things that they did, right? But he has nothing but praise for the Secret Service that had an epic fail. He never talks about this one guy, and he never questions the official story. He questions everything that the government does, and the failure of the government. He talks about we're going to hell, and it's the worst, And this guy's the one guy who's tried to actually kill him. He's never had anybody try to kill him before, and he never talks about the guy. He said, I hear he's a pretty good shot. He's not learning about the guy or any of these things. He's not saying, wow, this is a deep state. This is what all of his supporters are saying, right? And so, it's fake. I mean, and all these truthers, again, going back to the dumbing down of America, all these truthers who, never question the official story. It's just the most bizarre thing. But listen to this guy right here.
58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ralph.
Okay, so the guy has 3 fucking first names. Look at this guy right here. This guy looked like he's assassinated. He's gonna assassinate somebody, or he works at Human Services somewhere. Like the guy, and anybody with the last name, anyone with the name Ralph. My dad was named Ralph. And so, Ralph Romano. This guy has 3 first names, so this is...
Golf course, 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ralph. According to Josh's sources, authorities are working to obtain search warrants on various social media accounts believed to be associated with him. Some of these images that you're looking at to your screen here, these are images.
I mean, I don't know. He's got an award-winning smile and a polo shirt.
That our investigative unit has been able to cull from his various social media accounts that are available online. The suspected online activity.
So the first guy, there was almost nothing. This guy, they already know twice as much as they know about this guy that they know the first guy.
Also involving some...
Oh, it's Ralph, not Ralph. You mispronounced it. It's Ralph, not Ralph.
Of these platforms that are located outside of the United States. And what the FBI is also aware of are some of his online claims about foreign travel. And I want to zero in on something here.
Wait, he traveled around the world?
The pictures that you're seeing come from a GoFundMe account. And on that account, Routh claims that he went to Kyiv in 2022. He was raising money to try to support his travel that appears to be completely done on his own on that.
He's doing it on his own. That
GoFundMe website site. He is encouraging others to join him. It is unofficial. He claims that he is staying with people aligned with the military, that he's donating military.
I mean, he's a patriot. Look at this cool shirt.
Devices to some of the fighters in Ukraine. And our team is also gathering a little more of a background about where he comes from in the United States. We believe, according to public records searches, that he was splitting time between Hawaii and North Carolina, that in Hawaii.
Okay, so Hawaii is known for, I mean, there's a huge CIA hub there, right? It's where that guy, it's where Edward Snowden, he stole all that intel, the official story about Edward Snowden. If you've ever seen the movie, there's this massive security base there. It's also where Obama comes from, his family, that he has a connection to Hawaii, which is, CIA has a massive hub there. And so this is some kind of a CIA operative that's working for the government to get money funded to the Ukrainians or something, right? Like this guy, they got the Ukrainian flag behind him, and he's got the American flag, and so, like already, it's totally sus, it's totally suspect, right? It's just.
He was a self-employed affordable housing builder. He started in 2018 a company called Camp Box Honolulu, building some of those storage units and tiny houses, and that he had donated.
He didn't build the storage units. He's talking those COMEXs, or what do they call them? Where you get those, you get those, that they have the back on a tractor trailer, those metal boxes that people turn into houses, right? Like he didn't build he didn't build that. He, turned them into small houses.
A structure to some homeless people. In North Carolina, though, we are getting through some of the federal campaign finance records, a donation of $100, more than $100 to Act Blue, which processes donations to Democratic campaigns. He had registered as an unaffiliated voter, that is without a party affiliation in 2012, but he had voted in the March 2024 Democratic primary. And it also shows, according to North Carolina public records, that a number of brushes with the law.
That's crazy. Somebody who takes his AR-15 with a scope onto a golf course and tries to shoot Trump. He has some previous brushes with the law. It's actually an AK-47, but it's surprising it's that. I mean, he's supporting Ukraine and he's using a Russian weapon, right?
2002, he had a weapon. He had been pulled over by police, and that he barricaded himself in a building. That is something that police did recently confirm after his arrest on Sunday, and that he had a number of according to public records, Anderson, that he had issues with the courts and failing to pay taxes. Anderson.
Carolyn, thanks very much. More now on the breaking news. Tomorrow, the acting Secret Service director heads to Florida. Ronald Rowe got to the top job after the director resigned in July in a hail.
So I'm going to have some more of this in my next video as the information about this comes in. But this is a failed attempt. Trump was never there to be shot at. Like he was, the Secret Service guys got him before he jumped in his Nissan Maxima and drove off or whatever it was. But, this is a more developed story than the first thing, the Ketchup Gate, where you know next to nothing about the first guy. The story was, a complete failure by the Secret Service and the police. This one they got, they really want to push this idea that random people, randos, are just going and trying to kill Trump. But all those really crazy and armed and ex-military and wannabe ex-militaries and all these, patriots and all these people who are like right wing militia type people. Like all those people, they haven't tried anything on Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. I mean, remember they had a big thing about Gretchen Whitmer, which I'll get to at the end of this thing when we get to Walz. We're starting with Walz and beginning with his wife and then ending with him. He has this epic gaffe about calling Kamala Harris a prostitute. And so with all of these things, right, that this guy, with all these people that would be more likely, the crazy right-wing nut jobs that they talk about all the time, that Trump incites violence, the big event in January 2021, all those things, right, that they say about those people, the profile they're trying to create, all the, these truthers, all the QBs, the people who have, they have these types of weapons. There's no attempt on Kamala Harris. Trump has to go out there with a big glass wall in front of him now, bulletproof glass wall as he goes to these rallies. And Kamala Harris, they're not worried about her at all. Like there's nothing about her. Like just, even just a copycat person, a Trumper that does the same thing. They're not worried. I mean, the whole thing is just like this guy's a CIA guy. Just
criticism you may remember after the first assassination attempt on Trump in Pennsylvania. Back now with our panel, Julia Kayyem, Daniel Brunner.
These experts will tell you all about them. So here's MSNBC.
This morning, new questions being raised about the Secret Service after what the FBI describes as an apparent assassination attempt on former President Trump.
We live in dangerous times.
It comes just about 2
Remember that time? That was hilarious. When Trump put ketchup on his face and
months after the first one at a rally.
Like we're starting to forget about this. So the second one, the second one was like such a lame one. We got to bring this one back up.
In Butler, Pennsylvania.
Butler.
This time, officials say an agent opened fire after spotting a rifle near the former president's golf course in South Florida while Mr. Trump was playing.
He's not the sitting president. If he was,
he's got to get his golf game in. Somehow this guy from the Ukraine, some guy was supporting the Ukrainians, driving a Nissan Maxima, had intel on Trump playing golf. Somehow he knew he was on the golf course. Like, how did he know Trump was playing golf?
They had this entire golf course around it. The Secret Service did exactly what they should have done.
The agency has added personnel to Mr. Trump's protective detail since the Butler shooting, and they're also including more bulletproof glass at certain outdoor events. Lawmakers in both parties praising the Secret Service for its quick response while questioning whether more should be done.
We need to be taking a serious look at whether we are allocating resources correctly. Do we need more Secret Service agents?
The idea that there has been 2 attempts and they have been able to get close enough to the former president is deeply disturbing. I'm concerned that Donald Trump is actually not safe.
What happens?
He's not safe? That's crazy.
Sunday, a contrast to the attempted assassination in July. In Florida, officials say Mr. Trump was 300 to 500 yards from where the weapon was spotted and walked away unharmed. In Pennsylvania, the shooter was about 150 yards at a publicly announced event and fired a shot that injured the former president's ear.
Yeah, remember that? The ketchup in the
Secret Service.
The non-wound that healed miraculously without any stitches or anything because it was fake.
Has acknowledged a systematic breakdown in Butler, with Kimberly Cheadle resigning as the agency's chief just a day after taking heat from both parties on Capitol Hill.
You're full of today.
If you have
boom, she's full of boop.
Assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign.
Just days ago, the acting Secret Service director briefing lawmakers about the Pennsylvania attack after a bipartisan task force opened an investigation.
Are you confident that today Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are safe given their security details?
Well, we're working to help restore the confidence of the American people, and that's actually one of the things that this task force...
Well, we have no confidence in any of it. You know what you guys can do? Is do the turn the page. Turn the page.
You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
So I'm going to get into Donald Trump, and I don't want to say things, I mean, repetition is great because you don't hear these things anywhere else. hear the same lies from the mainstream media and the Trump truthers and the same bullshit over and over again. But here's, something unique, right? So repetition's great. But when I make these videos that over a couple of days, I have a tendency to repeat things. But I want to get into Laura Loomer. And this is all Trump's fault. Trump is the catalyst for this stupidity. And I'm going to show Kamala Harris like a horrific interview she does. And it's so bad. And it's more of this idiocracy, right? This dumbing down stuff. But I'm really going to set in on Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is the nexus, right? Donald Trump is the centerpiece of this era. And he's really brought in idiocracy. So much so. Pandering to the stupid Cubies and the stupid Trumpers and just being a complete idiot and an a-hole. And so I got these comments here. The first one is, let me find it here. Right, so somebody says this. I just read Trump tweeted your boxing analogy with regards to the debate rematch. 'Tis plagiarism, I tell yous. And so that's what that person said. That was the comment. And what I said was that right after the bout, right after a boxing match, it's never the winner that says, I want a rematch, right? And so I'm the one who said that, right? Like right then, whatever it is. And how many times have they come out and repeated things I've said? And I don't think they watch me. I know Tucker Carlson over and over again has used things that I've said. So I don't know if they watch me or their staff watches me or they just, whatever. But it's something to think about. Like I say things and then weeks later, years later, they're being said by other people. And I don't remember them. My viewers pointed out. I only seldomly discover this. I just showed you guys the celebrities dropping like flies that somebody has, co-opted. But think about that when you're, leaving comments like this. Without Donald Trump and Alex Jones, we would be nowhere, dum-dum. We would be voting for rhinos. Well, who's the we? Why you think I'm voting for Trump, right? What are you talking about? You think my viewers are voting for? There's no we. Like if you're gonna vote for Trump and you're a moron that can't see through Alex Jones and Donald Trump, I don't know how you made it to my channel. But speak for yourself. When you're calling us dum-dums and you're looking at Donald Trump and Alex Jones as credible sources, Donald Trump is not a truther. And Jen Psaki just did a thing on Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer is not a truther. Trump always gets these low-level truthers, these people who aren't truthers, right-wing, cubies. That's who he gravitates to, the dumbest. When Trump backs somebody, it's always the dum-dums. It's always the dumbest people. And people like someone like this calling us dum-dums and then saying, Alex Jones and Trump pointed out the rhinos. Really? Like that's your level of consciousness? Like how do you make it through life? But this is the best one because I did say this a lot. Let me save you some time. Pockets of the Future calls Donald J. Trump, DJT, a piece of shit a dozen times. You decide if this creator is a piece of shit and unsubscribe. You decide, and then he puts this in a big word, a letter here, capital letters. But I did say piece of shit a lot because I was kind of irritated by him, and I'm even still like irritated. He's a total piece of shit because of what he's done with the Haitians. And he just doesn't. Donald Trump just throws stuff up on the wall. He doesn't care who it hurts. And he doesn't follow through on it. He has no dogma. He doesn't believe in any of the things you think he believes in. He just panders to stupid people. And he brings down the level of vibrations. And so you get Kamala Harris and this dope, this whole, this is turn the page dope. I mean, the level of consciousness now is so low. Like, how do you believe that America can come out of this thing? Look at the way they're campaigning. So let's get to the Kamala Harris thing here. Because it's, epically bad, her interview. And it shows you, what Donald Trump has brought in. What's acceptable, right? Because of Donald Trump. Because of Donald Trump degrading the consciousness of America. And all you guys following him because he's promising things he's not going to deliver on. And he pretends to be someone like you. And he doesn't give a shit about you. And he's just the worst. And he's just got to go. Like he has to just... And I don't know if they'll ever disappear. I mean, this guy will be around for another 10 years if they can. I mean, he's their biggest asset, the people that control the system. He's the biggest asset for them to do everything that they're doing. And a big part of it is bringing in idiocracy. And you guys Trumpers are just like willfully becoming idiots, right? Like you're just following this guy down a path, a Pied Piper of dum-dums and morons and idiocracy. And the left is like, all right, well, we're pandering to stupid people. All right, we'll do it too. Okay, so ABC copyrighted my first video on the debate, a little bit of it. I don't understand why, because I covered so much of the debate. And, the debate's supposed to be, I mean, it was multicast, right? You can see it on all these other networks, and all of a sudden they're being douchey about little bits of it. ABC sucks, ABC Disney. So I'm just saying that I might have to cut this thing out. But anyways, here it is.
Awesome. Madam Vice President, pleasure to meet you. Thanks for your time today. Our audience appreciates your time as well.
Of course.
As you know, we're sitting here in a state and arguably in front of an audience that 54 days from now could decide the outcome of this presidential election. Yeah. You hear it more than I do. People want to know more about you and about your specific plans. At the debate the other night,
they want to know, what about this?
About creating an opportunity economy. Mm-hmm. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about
drill down,
bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this.
That's not getting to know her better. That's just some bullshit policy she has. That there it is, the guzzle lines and the glum face, right?
I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my
middle-class kid.
My sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, construction workers.
Okay, that doesn't say anything about you, right? This is who the people were, what your mom was. That doesn't say anything about you. Like, things that say something about you are decisions you made, like, as an adult. Like when you were 29 years old and you dated a guy who was 61 and he helped you become what you are today. Babylonian, no, but I mean, in terms of her, political stature. And so there's decisions like that you made, right? Like that would define you as a person, not these stories about, oh, this is the neighborhood I grew up in. These were the people that were around me and they influenced me, right? Because when you're a kid, you don't pay attention to the adults in your neighborhood. I mean, you shouldn't have to. You're not like, oh, look at all these working class people I live next to and these hardworking people. It's molding me as a child, and now this is going to affect me as a child when all these people that are my neighbors.
Nurses and teachers, and I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience,
I mean, I don't know the neighborhoods I grew up with as a little kid. I didn't know, some of my friends might tell me, my dad's a fireman or whatever it is, right? But the majority of people, and if they did, I barely heard it. Like, I can't remember, if I think back to the neighborhood I grew up in. So I lived there to the time I was in 8th grade. And some people moved in and moved out. But all the people on the street that I lived in, I had no idea what they did for jobs, right? Maybe if you see someone coming home in a uniform, oh, that guy's a cop or something. But I didn't see any of that. I have no idea what my neighbors did for work and didn't care, right? And so she's lying, this guzzle lines here are bad.
A lot of people will relate to this. I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn, And,
I didn't care about people's lawns either. I mean, when you get older, you might notice it. But I mean, like, my neighbors are so proud of their lawn. What do you want to do today? One of your friends say you're 8 years old. And Kamala, what do you want to do today? You know what? I'm looking around and I realized my neighbors are so proud of their lawns. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No kid is like, it's not, I mean, you don't even remember being a kid, right?
And I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's just stupid. Nobody thinks like that or talks like that, right? She's not a self-reflective person. She's not a person that goes inside and thinks, all the things that I say here. I mean, I talk, hours every day. And I give you my unvarnished opinion because, some of this is being introverted and some of it is like I think about things, right? Like even as a kid, I was a thoughtful kid. Like I thought about stuff. I had realizations when I was a kid. Like I had epiphanies. And I didn't think about things like that. And there was like, everyone deserves dignity. Like, where does that come from? Like, where are you even saying that? When did you realize that? When you were in high school? And she doesn't have any of that because all of these things she's saying are scripted. Like, she doesn't have internal thoughts. At least when she expresses those thoughts, her campaign people, her handlers go, holy shit, shut this boop up, right? Like, because she's going to cause all kinds of problems for our campaign. They don't want her free thinking or freelancing. They don't want her having her own thoughts. This is all just BS. Like, this is Hallmark card, political bumper sticker meets Hallmark card stuff, right? I realized from my middle class neighborhood that everybody deserves dignity, right?
And that we as Americans have a beautiful character. We have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams and ambitions.
Exactly. Look at how beautiful and talented we are. Look at our character qualities. Look at what we can do. Look at what we can do here.
Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
So when I talk about building an opportunity...
Okay, so that's, what are you talking about? Like, where are kids, like, what kid thinks about that, right? Like, you might be reflecting on your youth, comparing it to what it is today. But it's just silly. You grew up in a college town, in a bubble that's not like the rest of America. Your mom was had a doctorate in, was highly educated. And she was a doctor, and she was a doctorate in biology, and she was trying to cure breast cancer. Right, but the rest of her neighbors were firemen and hardworking, blue-collar people.
The economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people, and creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business. My mother, worked long hours, and our neighbor helped raise us. We used to call her, I still call her, our second mother.
She's my second. I had two moms.
She was a small business owner.
No way. And I was like, when I'm president, I'm going to help people like you. When she was making me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I was like, that's good peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I'm going to remember this moment when I become president, and I'm going to hand out loans to people like you because I recognize you as a small business person needing support in the future.
I love our small business owners. I learned who they are from my childhood.
From your childhood? Show me one fucking kid. You go to daycare. Show me one fucking kid from daycare that looks at their daycare and goes, this daycare is a small business. This is not a corporate. They don't even know the difference between that. At what age do you know the difference between a small business and a corporation? Right? What are you talking about? Like, when you grew up, some woman took care of you when she had, some other kids in her house or whatever, and you're like, hey, this woman's a small business owner. I got to remember, it's just stupid. Like, nobody thinks like that. No kid thinks like that. And she would know that if she had kids. Like, she doesn't remember what it's like to be a kid. Who knows what her childhood was really like, right? But she didn't have a normal childhood. She's not a normal person, which, I don't like normal. Like, I think it would be great to have somebody with her ethnic diversity, right? Like, how many Jamaican men marry Tamil Indian women? And then also she has ancestors that were slave owners. Like, she has the whole kit and caboodle. Like, she's also, she has Irish blood in her, right? She's, biracial, multi, nationalities and things, which would be cool if she wasn't if she was like a person, right? Like, that would be interesting to have someone with that much diversity. But nobody says that. And like, she doesn't have kids, so she doesn't know what kids think about, right? She, and she has nieces. Like, do you think her nieces walk around talking about small businesses? You saw what her nieces did at the, at the convention. They were telling everyone how to pronounce the name Kamala. Like, that's the stupidity that, these kids were bringing to the people there, because people can't pronounce her name, or they mispronounce it on purpose, like, either one, right? But it's like the thing that Gwen Walsh was doing. Like, that's the level of consciousness of adults. Like, what do you think kids are like? You think their kids are brilliant, and all of a sudden they get stupid? Like, you didn't know about small businesses.
And she was a community leader. She hired locally. She mentored. Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our communities, not to mention, really,
That's why, we killed the small businesses when we pushed Trump to close down the economy because of the bogus COVID thing. And all these small businesses went under because of our, strong-arming Trump into doing that as a Democratic Party. And that's how much I love those small businesses. I want to rebuild those businesses that we crushed.
I think the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. But investing in people's innovative ideas and giving them the ability to go for it. Opportunity economy means, look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans.
Younger Americans, it's about housing. We heard the same shit at the debate, right? Like, this didn't get people to... Repeating what you said about your policies that will never be implemented, they have these platforms. And you have people who are, are political wonks. They call them political wonk. And what they do is they love to read these policies and all this kind of stuff, like they're nerds of politics. And the majority of things just aren't feasible. They can't be done. They're just promises. So the plans themselves have no real substance. Like, they have to put together these plans. But why isn't Joe Biden doing these things? Why aren't they doing it now? Because A, it wouldn't help, or B, they can't, right? Or all the above. And, it isn't the small businesses or some of these other things that are going to cure the economy. They have to reverse the fact that they took out $12 million in bailout money because of COVID and then collapsed the economy. And so, you can't recover from that because the economy was already fucked before that. But she's just saying the same stuff she said at the debate.
The American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable. So part of my plan is to work with the private sector.
So you want to make America great again. Bring back the American dream.
And housing developers, to give them a tax credit, to be able to partner with us as the government.
So you can't do a small business or buy a house right now, and under Joe Biden's policies, right? And it's not because of Joe Biden; it's because of what they did for COVID, when they forced Trump to close down the economy, and Trump, was baited into it, so they both participated in that, and then it screwed Trump over. But then the economy can't recover from that because it's the bailouts that are part of that. That's the inflation part. But it's the rest of the stuff that happened before that. The economy has been, so overweighted by debt. Like, there's no solving any of it, right? There's just looting. There's just taking what's left American wealth and then bringing in a new lifestyle for the American people. That's all roads lead to that, right?
To build, and my goal is 3 million new homes by the end of my first term. In addition, to help people.
So he's just letting her do her stump speech. This is stuff she says every time she has, whatever. Let's move forward here.
Years ago, we can't take for granted anymore. For example, another plan that I have that is a new...
No one wants to hear about your crappy plans.
I support the Second Amendment, and I support reasonable gun safety laws. Part of my approach to this is I was a career prosecutor for most of my career. I have personally prosecuted.
Most of your career, you're a career prosecutor? Or as Tim Walsh is going to say later in this video, prostituter.
Cases. I have personally looked at autopsies.
She looks at him. She goes in there. She smells the dead body. She licks it, like Joe Biden stuff.
I've personally seen what assault weapons do to the human body. And so I feel very...
So they call me in. I'm like, do you want to see the dead body? Does it have assault weapon bullet holes in it? Otherwise, no. Plus, I'm editing. And if you compared a body that was killed by assault weapons, which would maybe hopefully be a clean kill, right? As opposed to somebody suffering, as opposed to somebody getting beaten, bludgeoned to death with a baseball bat or something, or stabbed and sliced up or something, or an axe, right? Like, I mean, think about what an axe would do to a human body, or what a sledgehammer would. I mean, compared to what bullets do. I mean, I'm not, who gives a shit, but I'm just saying, she's trying to make it sound like you have a worse death with an assault weapon. But what about the bullets from, some other, a larger caliber? Like a lot of these assault rifles, the AR-15 shoots .223s, right? So they're not very big bullets. Like compared to a .357 Magnum or some of these large, you can see these large, some of these handguns and things. Some of these, like a shotgun, for example. I mean, think about what a shotgun does to a human body, right? Especially at close range. So it's just stupid what she's saying here. Like, it's all sucks, right? All murders suck, and they're violent, and they're gross, and you can't, categorize it. The one thing you want to get rid of is somehow worse than the rest of these things when it's, really not.
very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban. They're literally tools of war. They were literally designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. I say we need universal background checks. The majority of NRA members support that. Why? Because it's just reasonable. You just might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon if they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others. You just might want to know.
You just might want to know that.
Two final questions, if I might.
Sure.
On the appeal of the man you were running against, as you drove here today, you likely saw a lot of Trump signs. Mm-hmm. He has an historic appeal in this country. And as you are someone running against him and trying to understand that, I wonder how you distill it. What do you understand his appeal to be? And how do you speak to his...
Why don't you ask her about knee pad stuff?
...voters? Or maybe people who just share his values but are open to something else?
I, based on experience and a lived experience, no. In my heart, I know. In my soul, I know that the vast...
Where's your soul? Is your soul up there?
...majority of us as Americans have so much more in common than what separates us.
Oh, we do. Then why did you shake your head no? Watch. She shakes her head no when she's saying this. This is the word salad stuff that Trump is talking about. And it's what got John Kerry in trouble, where you just become boring and hard to listen to, right? And that's the other thing. She's boring and hard to listen to. And it's, there's the annoying factor. And then there's just, she doesn't say anything of significance. And she's trying to dumb down her message because the American people are so dumb and their attention spans are so, limited. But she can't do that because she's just this word salad type of person. And she grew up as a person with educators, right? With people who are professional academic people who are, elitists, and they talk in this way. And each person's trying to show that they're the smartest person in the room. And so they're all competing in this way to sound more bullshit, intelligence in a bullshitting way, right? Bullshit intelligence.
I know that the vast majority of us as Americans have so much more in common than what separates us.
Why are you shaking your head no?
And I also believe that I am accurate in knowing that most Americans want a leader who brings us together as Americans.
So what do you think is going to bring together people, the Gulf Alliance here? Why do you think you're going to bring people together? They already hate you. The Republicans, the Democrats hated you before. They didn't want to vote for you. You're a divisive person. You're off-putting. And you think you're going to somehow bring people together. The way you acted during the debate wasn't bringing people together, right? It's just lies. Trump says the same stuff. They think they're uniters. the country hates each other. There's there's a divided country, and there's subgroups that hate each other. There's smaller groups that hate each other more specifically.
And not someone who professes to be a leader who is trying to have us point our fingers at each other.
Yeah, you never point fingers. You guys haven't been pointing fingers at Trump for the past 8 years.
I think people are exhausted with that approach, to be honest with you.
Okay, then why has he got 50% of the vote? Why are you not winning overwhelmingly? Because, it's what you and Joe Biden did, and now you're trying to walk away from it because people are sick of it. But, there's no way for you to walk away from it. The new person could.
I think people want a leader who has common sense and tries to find common ground. I'm supported by over 200 Republicans who worked for both Presidents Bush, John McCain, and Mitt Romney. I'm supported.
So you mean the Rhino Republicans, as Trump calls them?
By the former Vice President Dick Cheney, former Congress member Liz Cheney.
You mean you got the Cheneys? Holy shit. Did you get the Cheneys? well, then you should totally be president.
I think people are more willing now, in light of the hate and division that we see coming out of Donald Trump, to say,
Donald
hey,
Trump?
let's put
Say his name, Donald Trump.
country first.
Put country first. All right, let's one last thing here.
That you wish Americans knew about who Kamala Harris is, that you don't think they know yet, what would that be?
I don't know. I mean, probably it's not very different from anybody watching right now. I love my family. One of my favorite things that I lately have not...
She can't answer it, like who you are as a person. I'm pretty sure the people who around her have said in some way, don't be yourself, right? Like that message has gotten through to her, and so she can't do it. So he asked her, what, something she would want people to know about her that people don't know already, and she's going, "Well, I love my family." That's not, it's just stupid shit, right?
Not been able to do a Sunday family dinner. I love to cook. I have incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still my best friend.
So that's what you want people to know about you.
I think that, I have a career that really, and I said it the other day, as a career prosecutor, I never asked a victim.
Prostituter? Prostituter? Again, how did you get that job? Like, that would be something people don't really know about you. Or, you wish they'd.
And I said it the other day, as a career prosecutor, I never asked a victim of crime, were they a Republican or a Democrat. The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay? And I think that's the approach that most Americans want, regardless of who they voted for in the last election.
Okay, so I've been waiting all night and this morning to say these things I'm about to say, right? So watch this. This is a commercial. I started watching football yesterday, and I fast forward through commercials, but I saw this thing for Kamala and I stopped. And I just shot what you just see. So I just copied what you just saw, right? That clip where she says this exact same thing.
As a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay?
So he asked her, what can we know about you? And she said, look, they got the sunlight behind her, like she's got a halo, right? This moment. And, this is completely bullshit stuff anyway, right? It's not real. It's stupid. And I'll dissect this in a moment. I'll go back and dissect it. But she did this interview, and everything in this interview we had heard before in her stump speeches. And, none of these things are organic answers. Like, these interviews are supposed to be, let's get to know Kamala, right? Let's get beyond your rhetoric, beyond your taglines, beyond your bumper sticker speak, beyond your scripted speeches, and get to know you. And she used to do interviews like that. And we saw those interviews, and they're now getting memed all over the place because she says crazy, stupid shit, right? And she's very liberal and very, insincere and weird and, with her laugh and all these things. Her handlers have forbade her from just giving organic answers. They said, you can't do that. If you do that, you'll lose. If you be yourself, you'll lose. If you're yourself, Kamala, you have no chance of winning. People will hate you, and you'll be, out of politics forever. But let's listen to what she just said here.
As a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat?
Okay, so as a prosecutor, you're talking to a victim. Why in the world would anybody do that? When in the history of any of these things, of prosecution and prosecutors, in terms of American prosecutors, has anybody asked a victim whether they're a Democrat or Republican? Why would they ask you that, right? Some woman comes in and says she's just been assaulted, she's been AR'd, or she's been physically abused, or some guy's been shot, and he's in the hospital, and you go talk to him, a victim, and you're like, wait, before we get going, are you a Democrat or Republican? Because if you're a Republican, I'm not going to go after your murderer. Like, why in the world would anybody do that? Like, it's the stupidest shit you have ever heard. Like, she says a lot of stupid shit, right? Well, it's not stupider than this.
Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
And so the next part, let's listen to the next part.
The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay?
Okay, so some woman has just been AR'd. And you go, are you okay? Well, no, I just been AR'd, right? You've been shot. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. Pretty much anybody who's a victim is not okay, right? Like, I didn't care if they were Democrat or Republican. I just cared if they were okay or not. Like, it didn't happen. These things had never happened, and they're just bumper sticker speak. It's so fake, and Trump is responsible for this shit because he's degraded the consciousness of America and humanity. I mean, he hasn't done it by himself, of course, but he's been the catalyst, the nexus for this thing. And the reason you have Kamala doing this stuff is because you have Trump doing this stuff, right? These fake shootings and all of the fake stuff with Trump and all these other things here. I mean, this is just the stupidest shit ever, right?
As a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now.
Okay, this fake story that you just told about, you're bragging about how you never asked, people, it's not your job to ask them whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Like, what are you talking about, right? Like, Trump doesn't care about that. Trump just cares about whether people like him. And she's like, this is the kind of president you need? What are you talking about? None of these things are true that you just said, right? And you're bragging. Yeah, this is an example of who I am. And so this guy asked you, who are you? And you say, well, first of all, I love my family. Second of all, my best friend when I was in kindergarten is still my best friend today. And, whenever I worked as a prosecutor in my professional life, I didn't care if my victims were Democrats or Republicans. I'd actually do my job either way. And we know what kind of prosecutor she was. And this is the stuff I wanted to say, right? And sometimes I get these ideas and there's this stuff that flows through me. And, by the next day, I have trouble remembering it or, whatever it is, right? And I didn't have the ability to do this, yesterday. Like, to do what I'm say what I'm saying now. And when I get too old that I can't remember the stuff altogether, then it's time for me to hang this job up, right? I don't know when that's going to be. But this is the way she was as a prosecutor. We know this because she appeared on Matt Lauer and wrote a book after she tried 2 bullshit programs because, she slept with a guy that was 60 years old when she was 61, when she was 29. The guy was 32 years older than her. Very interesting number, 32, right? That she was prostituted herself, right? And so, this is all the stuff that, and we're going to get to that with Tim Walz in a moment. But this is the stuff that somebody does, what do prosecutors like her and DAs like her care about? District attorneys and prosecutors and these jobs that she has. The winning the big case, right? That they can get notoriety for, the things that she brags about, that she prosecuted, that she prostituted people for, gangs and these things, these illegal, cartel people and all this stuff that she says, right? Or all these programs that she put together that didn't really work, that she brags about and writes about in her book. Because she wanted to be president. We know what kind of person she is. She's seeking upward movement. She doesn't care about victims and she didn't care about these people, because a person like that is just doing a great job for the people that are there, and people like Kamala are passing them up for promotions because she's shaking the right hands and sucking the right boops and doing the right knee pads thing and doing the rest of this stuff so that she can move up in her career, while people who really care do their job thanklessly and invisibly, and she's just someone who's doing this other stuff, right? And so, like, she's somebody who's promoting herself because she wants to be president, she wants to be governor or whatever. She had ambition, and she was, using her positions to create buzz, to create, things that she could use as a political candidate in the future. All the things that you see now, these storylines that she created. Like, she's somebody who thinks about it, and she had handlers. When she was moving up in the ranks here, at some point she's going to have handlers be a part of her career arc, and they're going to tell her what to do and how to approach things and how things are going to look in the future, and that's what she's going to move towards, right? That's what she's going to do. Things that are going to help her advance her career. We all know this. This is the kind of person she is. Same kind of person Donald Trump is, right? They don't care about you. They care about their success. They're success-driven people, and those people always suck. When those people have a choice between doing the right thing and doing the caring thing and doing the divinely inspired thing, or doing something that's going to promote their career and their success, they're always going to choose their career and their success. But they're going to tell you about how great they are as people and how they're the kind of people that will always do the right thing. That's what politicians do, and she's one of the worst.
Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on investing right now in you, the American people. And we can chart a new way forward. I'm Kamala Harris.
Tim Walz. So this was her thing, right? So she goes on this interview, and instead of being herself and letting her hair down, allowing the American people to see who she is, she quotes from the debate, which is a quote from her commercial, which is a quote from her speeches, which has been written for her by other people, and it's full of bullshit and these imaginary lives that these people didn't live, right? Just like the imaginary bullets that didn't shoot Trump in the ear. Like, it's all fake, and they're all fake as fuck, right? All right, let's get into the Trump stuff here. So here's what I was talking about with Quentin Tarantino.
This is about winning. What most people don't give the Democrats enough credit for, all right, but we give the Republicans credit for. It's like, no, sometimes it's just about winning, and it doesn't matter how we look at this moment. It's about winning.
Okay, so weird. Quentin Tarantino is a weird piece of shit, right? I mean, I'm just in my piece of shit phase, like it's just everybody. So speaking of which, this is something that's really bothersome, right?
Out of here, and I'm going to Utah.
Should J.D. Vance debate Tim Walz?
Yeah, sure. I think it would be good. JD's doing a great job, don't you think?
No, he's not. He sucks.
He'll do very well. JD's going to debate, yeah.
Do you denounce the bomb threats in Springfield, Ohio?
I don't know what happened with the bomb threats. I know that it's been taken over by illegal migrants, and that's a terrible thing.
Okay, so whatever has been done there, it started under your presidency. Haitians were, back in 2018, were already going to this place for whatever reason. It'd be good to get to the bottom of why that happened. Like, how did the Haitians get from Haiti to Springfield, Ohio? Like, how did they get into America and then get to that specific town, right?
Thing that happened. Springfield was this beautiful town. And
it wasn't. It was a town that was struggling because a factory had closed, and 20,000 people moved out of the town because of that. So it wasn't a beautiful town, right? It was an American, one of these smaller American cities that fell on hard times because of whatever industrial, economic reasons, right? They decided to dump a bunch of Haitian immigrants in there. And so why don't you find out why that is? Like, that's a more important story. This is the difference between, the stuff I talk about being like a real truther and finding the cause, and finding, the real problem and then coming up with some sort of real solution instead of just fear baiting, which is what Trump's doing, which is why Trump's a piece of shit, right? Because Trump just degrades everything. He just will do anything to get his needs met, to get his desires met. Like, he's the worst type of person.
Now they're going through hell. It's a sad thing. Not going to happen with me, I can tell you right now. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, so just that's another thing where he won't really solve the problem or won't care about it once he's elected. So I saw on Twitter, I don't know how I saw it, Alex Jones posted a picture of cats being barbecued. That piece of shit shill Alex Jones, who's done everything to destroy the truth community, right? There's one thing to question the official story. There's another thing to just post whatever is convenient for you for views or for, votes or whatever it is, right? And just bashing people, making stuff up and doing whatever you need to do so that you can win is what Trump has done. It's what Quentin Tarantino was saying, is what they're trying to do with Kamala. And it just absolutely sucks, right? Because the American people are tired of the negativity and the blame when Trump clearly wasn't the guy they wanted or the guy he promised he was, not only when he was elected president in 2016, but also the way he went out in 2020 with all the stuff he put through with the Operation Warp Speed and the way he acted post-election and just the drama he's created, right? So then there's the local news station, right, covering this.
Concern is mounting over potential impacts of falsehoods spread by former President Donald Trump and others about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, including a debunked rumor that they are eating people's pets. Reed Beninian has the latest.
As the scaring amplifies.
See, the thing about it is people just don't trust the media. And the media saying something's a fact means almost nothing anymore to half the population. It means the opposite. If the media is saying something, they think the opposite is true, right? And that's, people not really truthers, but, truthers, all of us are involved in that. We know that the media lies. And so the media saying something is debunked means nothing. Fact-checking it means nothing, right? Maybe to the independent voters, which I was saying in my last video, and I'll come back to that. But to say that these Haitian people are eating cats, the other problem is Donald Trump and Alex Jones and all those pieces of shit will fear bait at any opportunity. And they want to fear bait with immigration. And they don't care about Springfield, like I said in my last video. They don't care about any of these things. And so to go out there and say these things without real proof, when even J.D. Vance backed off on this thing, and continuously say it even though you're wrong, this is the kind of thing where people are, they're going to be prone to say, Jesus Christ, let's just get rid of this motherfucker, right? So I want to clarify here. I'm editing. Today's Monday, September 16th, but when I originally did this clip, I believe it was Saturday. And it certainly was before the whole assassination attempt. And so my saying get rid of this MNFer, what I was saying is they want to, not vote for him and vote for Kamala just to get rid of him and end the Trump era. But now, of course, the other thing applies as well, I guess. All right, let's get back to it. I mean, the thing that happened was fake. I'm pretty sure about that. If you've seen more of the coverage, I'll get more into it next video. But, we're just tired of him and his, just saying anything that suits him, which is hurt all of us in the truth community, and it's just degraded humanity. And as bad as Kamala Harris is, at least that would be the end of Trump. He's not going to run again in 4 years. And so he'll become irrelevant for the most part. The trials, I don't even know what they'll try to do to keep him going. Because the Democrats have used him as an excuse for their bad behavior. And that's the number one thing people have to realize, that everything the Democrats and the liberals have done that has crossed the line, they've given themselves permission to cross the line because of Trump. And Trump has, helped them with that. He is their biggest asset, right? And just this cat-eating, dog-eating thing is is just the bottom of the barrel. This just Trump at his worst, right? Because of all the implications and just, he could be saying that about truthers. Like if Trump thought it was better for him to throw truthers under the bus, he'd make up rumors, he'd push for censorship, he'd do all the other stuff that the Democrats are doing. Because Trump doesn't care about anybody but Trump, right? And if you don't know that by now, I mean, Jesus.
I do believe more people will be violent. And that's why we have to stop this now.
Concern is mounting over the potential impact of falsehoods spread by former President Donald Trump and others about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, including a debunked rumor that they are eating people's pets.
It creates a lot of fear and confusion amongst the.
You know, and there's people that are forever now going to believe that Haitians are cat eaters and, or dog eaters, that they'll eat your pets. And, you'll eat a cat when the apocalypse comes. I mean, most of you will. Like, people will be eating their own pets when they're starving. I mean, when things get really bad, you have no food. Grocery stores have long since been stripped of all that they have. And it's just running around chaotically when our economy's completely collapsed. In whatever situation, that's what people will eat anything, right? And, people eating rats and mice and, bugs and whatever. Like, you don't know what true hunger is until you haven't eaten in days and your kids are starving. And, and we'll see if that happens to America. And I can't imagine it won't, just based in the entitlements and the, Americans deserving that kind of reality, right? And so people eating whatever it is, any kind of protein in these countries, you see the way that people are starving, right? And, people eat other people. So, that's the reality in these really poor countries. Whether they eat cats and dogs or not, that's, you can't judge them for that because you've never experienced it, right? I don't like those comments. Vance's response to Laura Loomer's attack on Harris's Indian heritage.
To another topic. I've been talking to allies of former President Trump who are frankly outraged. They're alarmed that Donald Trump has been traveling with Laura Loomer. She is someone who says she supports white nationalism. She spread conspiracy theories, including that the September 11th attacks are an inside job.
Lots of people, I think over 50% of the people, at least consider that as a possibility, right? They make it like some horrible thing. Our government does horrible thing. Our government's created weapons that, the weapons of war they've created, depleted uranium and, the atomic bombs and just all of them. Just in terms of what they've created to destroy and hurt people and kill people. And the things that we've done as human beings, the event that happened, the big event that happened in, September 11th being some sort of an inside job isn't that far from, most people's belief systems, right? Like most people, so I think it's over 60% think that JFK was assassinated, was that the official story was wrong, right? There's lots more people out there that are potential truthers, even in small, like little movements. And so she's making it sound like it's some horrific thing.
Recently said that Kamala Harris, whose mother was Indian, if she wins in November, quote, the White House will smell like curry. Senator, you are married to an Indian American woman.
What are you doing? Bro, like you really play this on thick here.
What was your reaction to hearing those comments specifically?
Well, Kristen, I want to go back to what you said about Haitian migrants to begin with, because you didn't give me a chance to respond. Look, we don't blame the Haitian migrants for coming to Springfield. We blame Kamala Harris for opening the American southern border and inviting 20,000 people to get dropped in a small Ohio town.
Okay, so how did that happen? Like, explain the process. How were they moved? Like, where did they come into the country? And how were they moved from that spot to Springfield, Ohio? How did that happen?
Now, you asked about Laura Loomer. Look, Laura Loomer is not affiliated with the Trump campaign. She said something about curry in the White House that I first read about this morning, actually, because I knew that you would ask me about it. Look, Kristen, I make a mean chicken curry. I don't think that it's insulting for anybody to talk about their dietary preferences or what they want to do in the White House. I think what Laura said about Kamala Harris is not what we should be focused on. We should be focused on the policy and on the...
Okay, just let's talk about how she's a piece of shit, because that's what she is. Again, missing the opportunity because he can't do that because she's traveling with Trump. Trump allies worries his ties with far-right activist Laura Loomer could cost him Georgia and North Carolina.
Debate performance, his overall messaging, and where, or more accurately, who that messaging may be coming from. The latest example, a right-wing...
It's them showing this over and over again, especially after the debate. There's one takeaway from the debate, and it was Trump saying they're eating the dogs, right? The number one thing that they're talking about and have been talking about is Trump saying that on the liberal media. And it obviously isn't helping them because they wouldn't be talking about it, right? Because, there are people who are going to believe that, people who are already voting for Trump. But the people in the middle are like, they're not buying into Trump's bullshit, right? They desperately don't want to vote for Trump. They're hoping for an alternative. There's the majority of people, Trump his ceiling is, 48% of the vote. And maybe he gets another 2% of people who, they want to vote and they don't want to vote for Kamala. But Trump has a very hard time getting above 48% of the American people. He's not doing a good job of reaching out and bringing those people in. And he says stupid shit and hangs out with skanks like this is just the wrong decision because the people who he needs to bring in are not going to want to hear about Laura Loomer, right? Whatever her, she's just a nightmare.
Influencer and conspiracy theorist named Laura Loomer, who traveled with Trump on his plane to Tuesday's debate and made an appearance in the spin room. Loomer, who has called 9/11 an inside job.
Like they make that sound like it's some scarlet letter, right? The majority of people, at least 33%, when they used to take polls on this, believed in that. So that's 1/3 of Americans, and probably many more now. Or people who won't say, right?
Also accompanied the former president to 9/11 commemorations yesterday. As The Atlantic puts it, it takes a unique kind of vulgarity to bring a 9/11 truther to events marking the anniversary of the September 11th attacks. NBC's Vaughn Hilliard is following the Trump campaign on the ground in Arizona. Brendan Buck is back with me.
Brendan Buck in Georgia.
Brendan, we've been speaking like this for a very long time. I often ask the question, when Republicans have expressed concern, when they're worried about something Trump says, who will he listen to? Who can have his ear? Who can talk to him? Do we have the answer?
We sure do. And it seems to be getting crazier and crazier. Look, I remember negotiations when I was on the Hill working for Speaker Ryan and we're trying to break through something and the president wanted to talk to the speaker and you get on the phone and there's a Fox News personality surprisingly on the line with them. And it was just sort of how things go. But now we're into a whole new level. Look, we've talked a lot about how...
Who is this? How are you on TV, bro? You suck.
Potentially this...
Oh, that's why he's on TV.
Trump campaign is more disciplined than previous iterations. I think we can throw that all out the window. I mean, this person has a very tenuous grasp with reality, and it is clearly the type of person he wants to be surrounding himself with. At the same time...
Okay, dude, suggest you drink some decaf. Okay, so here it is. Several allies who were granted anonymity to speak candidly warned that Loomer's rhetoric about Harris could hurt Trump's standing with critical voters, particularly in the key states of Georgia and North Carolina, where they have large Indian American and Hindu populations. The bottom line is Laura Loomer is not going to bring in votes, and she could cost you votes. And Trump does stuff like this every election. He does things his advisor says not to do them, the cat thing, the Laura Loomer thing. He just, he says things like that. He does things like this that self-sabotage. The guy is one of the biggest self-sabotagers. That's why he went bankrupt 6 times. Like he literally went bankrupt 6 times because he makes bad decisions, oftentimes against the advice of other people, and those things come back to haunt him, right? Paying off Stormy Daniels was the worst thing possible because she came out and said they had an affair. It would have gone away in a day or two. The thing has haunted the guy now for years. And then, just all these types of things that he does. He's a walking disaster. Okay, so here is Laura Loomer, right? Now, Trump likes to call women nasty. This is Laura Loomer.
We are losing our country because of big tech election
interference. And I am pleading with the Republican Party to please start taking this issue seriously. Please. Because the American people deserve representation. And that's why I ran for Congress in 2020. It's
She's about to cry. You're not going to cry.
why I ran for Congress in 2022. And it's why I'm going to keep fighting for all of you.
Okay, so I'm editing here. I just got a bunch more to get to with this incredibly nasty skank, right? And the fact that she says truther stuff is like makes it even worse, right? But there's lots of inferences, as you're going to hear from some dude on MSNBC, Chris, whatever his name is. And, you know, my wife told me this yesterday. And then there's a Jen Psaki thing where he's praising this girl over and over again in ways that pretty much everybody knows that Trump is romantically linked to her. Now look at her. Now Trump banged Stormy. He cheated on his wife, who's, you know, I mean, has all that weird plastic surgery and kind of looks like a dude. And then he cheated on her with Stormy Daniels, who's a porn star. And now this woman. And so, you know, these are like, Trump is always talking about nasty women, but he loves nasty women, right? Like he talks about how that woman who claims, and she's, you know, 70 years old now and kind of not great looking, but, you know, that she wasn't meet his standards to be abused by him or whatever he was, you know, goofily saying there. But these are the women that Trump chooses to be with. You know, he's cheating on his wife. You know, he's almost 80, and he's got this gross woman, like this gross, nasty woman, and he's inserting her into the election that, at the beginning of this video, said is the most important decision that people are going to make. And he's bringing somebody who's obviously divisive. His allies and people around him know that this is a nightmare move. And he's traveling with her, you know, and she brought about this rumor about the dogs and the cats being eaten in Springfield, which is another disaster for him. You know, things that the Democrats and the liberal media are feasting on. And he's just, you know, his taste in women is like gross, right? I mean, it's not a good situation. You're married, you're old, you know, like, what are you doing here? Like, you can't trust this guy's decision making because this is the kind of decisions he makes, right? You know, with the Stormy Daniels thing, I mean, sleeping with a porn star, having sex with a porn star, the problem with that is it's a porn star. Like, porn stars are gross. Like, it's just a gross job and, you know, filled with sexually transmitted diseases and just gross energy and all that stuff, right? It's the problem with porn is that it's, you know, it's so gross, right? It's like so low vibrational and it's like, you know, animals mating. I mean, it's just even worse than that. And so it's just like as low vibrational as vibrations you can get. And he banged this porn star and then paid her off, which his wife, you know, is still fuming about. And it's cost him all kinds of various things. And he denies doing it when he obviously did. And then he's walking around and, you know, traveling with this skank. She's on his plane. He's defending her. And when we get to the stuff coming up, and they're all, you know, gleefully talking about Trump being connected, you know, hinting at, insinuating he's connected to this woman romantically, and just ick. Like, the guy is just so ick, right? And for him to be throwing these Haitian people under the bus in Springfield, you know, really what he's doing, I mean, he's using he's demonizing the Haitian people as cat and dog eaters with no real proof, just some, you know, random rumors. And you got all these dopes who are Trump supporters saying, yeah, the Haitians are known for eating cats. You didn't care about that yesterday, you know, the day before Trump started talking about this. You didn't even know that these Haitians were there, right? And it's not them that's the problem. It's the system that's letting all these people in and then moving them into these communities that are depressed because the economy's collapsing. And so there's all these vacant homes, these, you know, cities that are being abandoned. I mean, that's the problem, right? That's the real problem. And Trump was a part of that problem. He's not going to fix it. And, you know, the big thing is he's not fixing any of these problems. He's promising to. He's using fear to get elected again, but he's just going to try to monetize his presidency even more. And he's going to have, like, do whatever he wants because of the Supreme Court ruling. He doesn't have to get elected again, so he's not going to care about you. He did the same thing with the truth community years ago when he sort of pandered to the truth community before the election with Hillary Clinton and then just forgot about us later. Because he's not a real truther. These are the kind of truthers that he has, people like Laura Loomer. And she's just despicable, right? Like, she's so gross. And these are the bad decisions that Trump makes. But Chris Hayes, like, this is something my wife told me. There's rumors going around that he's banging her. I don't know if that's possible for Trump. There he is with the big 45.
Grown concerned over Trump's increasingly close relationship with Loomer.
He's trying to say that Trump's banging her, right? Which, with Trump, I mean, it could be some kind of sexual relationship, which is why she's on the plane.
Officials, a la Pat Cipollone, have grown concerned over Trump's increasingly close relationship with Loomer. They certainly seem very close. Many insiders saying she's encouraged Trump to push the conspiracy theories he's now spouting on the campaign trail. One thing is certain, Trump is kind of enamored with Loomer right now.
It's great to have you, and you've been really very special. You work hard.
My God. Like, what is, I mean, look at the fish boy here.
And you are a very opinionated lady, I have to tell you that. And in my opinion, I like that.
Well, I
but
appreciate that.
all of your support, and you've been terrific. And everybody appreciates you. So
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting
Thank
me to
y'all.
sit with you
Thank y'all. Like, she's the worst.
today. Pleasure. You're the best. I love you.
My turn? Was that her?
Pleasure. You're the best. I love you.
I love you. I love you. They're definitely banging, right? Get a room. They're definitely banging, or whatever geriatric Viagra injected version of that Trump can perform. But it's just a mess, right? This is just bad. And there's more here.
It's kind of sweet in its own weird way.
Okay, so Trump says she's a free spirit and is defending her. And so this is a classic case of somebody who's repulsive and a disaster, and Trump brings the person in at a critical time. Like, there's no thought of, okay, is this going to help me win or not, or any of these things. Trump looks old as shit there. Okay, so this is what Trump posted on Truth Social. Laura Loomer doesn't work for the campaign. She's a private citizen and longtime supporter. I disagree with the statement she made, but like with the many millions of people who support me, she is tired of watching the radical left Marxists and fascists violently attack and smear me. Donald J. Trump, real Donald J. Trump. Here she is, like just the plastic surgery and the voice and just all of it, right?
On Tuesday, were his policies articulated worse? Was his demeanor less energizing? If anything, Donald Trump did better on Tuesday than back in June when he debated Joe Biden. Trump was far more energetic, far more combative when necessary, and in many ways, he showed shades of his 2016 performances and his 2016 energy, which will go down as among the best in political history. So what happened?
So this is what he's willing to throw away his presidency for. Again, not an asset, right? Because the people who like her are already voting for Trump. So there's just no reason to have her around, right? She's not going to help in the swing states. And she's just, I mean, this is why they're talking about her. This is why she's being pointed out, right? And she's linked to this whole thing with the Haitian pet thing and all those other things, right? And she's, so pro-Israeli and, she's anti-Muslim and she's pro-genocide, right? It's just a, like nightmare person. So I was trying to say about this in my last video is Trump appears to be handing them talking points and doing left-right cover for them and giving them things to, demean him with and to, all these things that he's saying. He always does it. And I have to believe it's purposeful because, this thing with Laura Loomer, she is like Kamala Harris. She's off-putting, unlikable, and weird. Now, she's created some kind of audience for herself, and God knows what kind of person could listen to her. And she would appeal to them. But she's like Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris is unlikable. You look at her face, you see her expression, you hear her voice, and the majority of people are just not going to like her. And it's, she's similar to Kamala Harris's presentation. And that's one of the things that she's, everybody's like kind of incubating this stuff to do with Kamala Harris. They're trying to ingest what they just saw at the debate. And we know what happened before. The Democrats rejected her. Like, this is not a Democrat or Republican thing. Now, the Democrats are going to embrace her despite what their intuition and their inner child and, whatever it is saying. Like, we don't like this bitch. Don't vote for this person. They're going to override that now. But they didn't override it when they had other Democratic people to vote for in 2020. And so Kamala Harris just gave everyone a big dose of her being unlikable, unlikability. And Trump rolls out this skink and just as a distraction, pull people away from her. And it says, you guys remember how much you guys hate me and hate my choices? And here's my own version of Kamala here, right? It's just self-sabotaging. And just the stuff he's done with the dogs and the Haitian, everything that like people don't want to see from Trump. The people who are over Trump, they're tired of this kind of bullshit, right? And this kind of drama, which he's always going to bring. This is always going to be a part of what he does, right? This is going to be, the whole whining of the liberal media and him provoking them and him, complaining, acting like a victim and just, making bad decisions and pushing people away and then not taking responsibility for his decisions. And any person who, throws a little flattery his way or, says whatever, that he wants to hear, he'll roll them out and all these things. And the stuff that makes him Trump is just, everyone's tired of it. You get an aversion to something. Like you drink tequila, you get really drunk and you get really sick. And then every time you smell tequila, you have an aversion to it. It makes you nauseous. Like there's aversion therapy. And Kamala's already creating that with her own, personality. Like two people that you're going to become averse to. Like every time you see them, you're going to have a negative reaction, right? It's like Pavlov's dog. You have this association with them. And then they're associated with each other and then this whole other thing, right? And so it's just a failure, a constant failure from this guy. And he just doesn't care. Like no matter what his advisors, and the guy just won't listen. There's no reason to bring her around if he's banging her. Like that's even worse, right? Like, why would you be doing that? Your wife's already pissed off at you. And then you're going to roll out this skank. And, Marjorie Taylor Greene is jealous of her, right? Like, hey, I thought I was your main, like, wing dingbat skank. So, like, it's just, like, it's just everything I say. If the country is, if 50% of the people are voting for the destruction of the country, if you're even talking about that the country is like hanging by the thread, then things must be really desperate, right? If we're capable of being destroyed, this empire is capable of coming down, then, and it's possible, like just the wrong decision in an election could cause this country to come down, then we're already fucked. Like we're just too far gone. And this is just all an indication of it. Like Babylon is collapsing, right? But anyways. Okay, so this is Jen Psaki, she's one of the worst people on TV. In terms of her stiffness and her awkwardness and her inability to do her job in a network that already sucks, and her former job and working with Jojo Magoo and covering up for his senility, like she's just one of the worst. And very annoying and off-putting, in a sea of annoying and off-putting people. But she has valid points, just like Chris Hayes did, about Trump and Laura Loomer. It's terrifying, former Trump aide on Laura Loomer working in Trump's White House. So she goes in also, like they all know Trump's banging her. Because, they're just openly implying this.
Open admiration for Laura Loomer made headlines this week. It's important to remember that Trump has complimented her a lot over the past year, all while she has pushed her gross conspiracies.
Again, she hurts the truth community. And I said this in my last couple of videos, in this video, that we don't want you. Like, we don't want people like this. And, you know, somebody who's pro-Israel and anti-Palestine and pro-genocide and all the other things she stands for, you're not a truther. You're not even close to being a truther. And so when she says these things, you know, whether it be about the big event 2001, September 2001, or any of these things, she's just one of these QB people who's just hurting all of us. And she says it, and unfortunately, you know, this is a kind of truther that Trump cozies to. Trump cozies up to far-right activist Laura Loomer. They're putting it right here, cozies, you know.
This woman is amazing. Laura Loomer. Where is she? Where's Laura? She is amazing.
Every damn day we see another story about illegal aliens going to the Ritz-Carlton, illegal aliens getting free flights, illegal aliens getting free clothes.
You know, there's a real immigration problem. Like, there is, you know, open border, whatever issues here. They're purposely bringing in a replacement population, whatever you want to call it. But these guys are fear-baiting it, and they're not being honest about the people with money who are hiring and wanting cheap labor, because that's why it exists. The immigration issues are about cheap labor for rich people and corporations, people who don't want to have to pay taxes, want to pay people under the table, don't want to have to take out medical insurance, you know, just pay people who are desperate for a job, pay them less, and they'll work harder. I mean, that's what immigrant labor is, right? People are so coming from such desperate circumstances, and knowing that they're at a disadvantage, will do work for much less money and without the kind of entitlements and benefits that like in this case, the American population has, right? So it's a very complex issue, and these guys are just using it as a weapon to promote fear and say that they're so much better than the Democrats. And they're not, because even though Trump says he's going to do all these things, he's not really going to do them, because you know, there's going to be no mass deportation. I've already talked about that.
And free cell phones, and someone's going to snap. Someone's going to snap. It's going to happen. And you know what? I'm not going to care when it happens.
A fantastic woman, a true patriot, Laura Loomer. Laura, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
If Kamala Harris gets elected as president of the United States, so
she's been traveling with him to all these events. That's what they're pointing out, that these are all the times that Trump has pointed her out, like giving her a shout out in the middle of his speech, which means he's trying to drive traffic to her social media posts. Loomer unleashed. And so, like, she's just, I mean, unbelievably nasty, right? And he's, you know, and look at these giant man hands. And
we are going to have an Islamic caliphate in this country.
It's great to have you.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
You've been really very special. You work hard. You are a very opinionated lady. I have to tell you that. And in my opinion,
look how old he looks.
I like that.
Joining me now is Sarah Matthews. She served as the deputy press secretary during the Trump administration. Okay, Sarah, none of us are surprised anymore by a lot of the things Trump does, but help us understand how somebody who is a conspiracy theorist,
again, like, you would have to listen to this crap from her. Look, she's got these little hobbits. This woman can at least reach her thing, kind of. There's a little hobbit sitting up here, right? Look at how much higher her seat is than this woman's.
who's a 9/11 truther, who says all the things that we've been talking about.
She's got a little glass top here
in this show, goes from that,
a 9/11
fringy
truther
person, to being on the plane to the debate and kind of in the unofficial inner circle of Donald Trump.
Well, I think you are the company you keep, and this just goes to show what his character and judgment is, if this is who he's choosing to surround himself.
Okay, so, but let's not pretend Kamala's any better, because she's not. But Kamala is a symptom of the Trump era, where this, you know, stupidity and this low consciousness and all the things I've described here are running rampant. And you can't say we can save the country if this is what's going on, right? You can't pretend that our country's salvageable if this is the kind of stupidity they're using in their campaigns, and the kind of shit they're pulling, and they're both so deplorable. Where's the hope? Like, where's the hope of this? There is none. Because we're so bankrupt, we're so in debt that it's impossible to save the country, and people are so morally broken and they're so unnatural and so inefficient and entitled and, you know, all the things I say. I mean, all the things that we know. And so there's no hope for humanity. That's the bottom line. I mean, the hope is change, that we can change, and most people can't. And most people are just clinging to some institution, in this case the Democratic or Republican Party, or whatever institution they are, it's the American government or their church or whatever it is, right? I mean, it all comes down on what you bet on. Let me switch over to a voiceover here. So I'm betting on the Sizemore system, and I've had incredible success and benefit from the system. So it isn't like a huge bet on my part, because I've already been, you know, transformational in this life. I'm not waiting for some, you know, after death experience or some, you know, some promise of heaven or something. It's already benefited me tremendously. But, you know, it's what I believe in, and the predictions, the prophecies, the, you know, just all the, you know, the literature and the, you know, all the stuff that's said about the system and about what's going to happen and the problems with humanity. It's some scaras and these things, the way what your soul does afterwards. I mean, they have, you know, teachings about this stuff that I wholeheartedly believe. But some of it I can't know. Some of it is a leap of faith, right? For you Christians, it's about going to heaven. You know, each religion, it's about whatever the religion says. If you do this religion, you're having faith that it's going to deliver when you die, or, you know, whatever, right? It's going to deliver your soul to wherever. And then people who are atheists are believing that there is no God and there's no consequences. There's no, you know, there's no soul, that when you die, that's it. And that, you know, you might as well live your life to the fullest and do evil stuff and enjoy yourself and not worry about consequences or an afterlife. And they're betting on that, right? Lots of people are betting on a smaller level, on a, you know, on a real-time level, on either Donald Trump or you know, Kamala Harris or the American system, and putting everything, you know, all their chips in the middle of the table and saying, I just have faith America is going to always be there for me. I'm not going to prepare and change and adapt and have a backup plan, because I just think America's strong and will never, you know, my lifestyle is guaranteed, right? Everyone has their, you know, is betting on something right now, whether they know it or not, right? You're putting your faith and trust in something. And so it's really about what you're willing to, you know, put your faith and trust in. You can't put your faith and trust in either of these people if you're half awake. Like, neither one of them is going to save the system, no matter how desperately you want, you know, how much your wishful thinking plays into it. And so it's just for people to, you know, at the very least, I mean, most people should be hedging their bets a little bit. Like, even if you want to believe in Trump and you want to vote for him, you know, which again is to me like just silly, but whatever, let's say you want to do that, then, you know, there's also, you can do other things just in case he can't save the system, right? And then you can come up with, you know, some ways to be prepared for what's going to happen if the system collapses. But anyways, there's just two more things I want to get to here. Okay, so this geriatric MNFer here, they rolled him out to the President Biden speaks at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's Phoenix Awards dinner in D.C.
American history. Let's be clear. They're old ghosts in new garments trying to seize your power, and extremists coming for your freedoms. Make it harder to vote.
Okay, so his chompers are gone here.
Have your vote counted. Closing doors of opportunity. Attacking affirmative action and the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Banning books. Erasing history. My predecessor calls the insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol on January 6th patriots. But when peaceful protesters marched for justice for George Floyd, Trump wanted to send in the military, but they wouldn't go.
They wouldn't go.
He says immigrants, black and brown immigrants, poison the blood of our country. Right now, his running mate is attacking Haitian Americans in Ohio. It's wrong. It's got to stop. Any president should reject hate in America and incite, not incite it.
Not incite it. So again, like they're hiding this MNF away.
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor. Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time.
So I was like, oh, somebody, deep fake that. But they didn't, because here's the...
We work just as hard in the policies we put in place to benefit those people, their families, as well as those people and their families. This is a policy for everyone. Can you imagine Donald Trump saying, we're going to look out for those folks that don't vote for me?
No.
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor.
For a prostituter. I mean, I don't know how he comes up with that. Like, it's just so accurate. Like, it's wonderful. Like, somebody should have thought of that already. And he just gave it to us. I mean, he just called Kamala Harris a young prostituter.
Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time. Kamala Harris, for the people. She's had one client. That's the people of this country. That's the people she's worked for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those things. Yeah, she's such a wonderful prostituter. So here's Gretchen Whitmer. This is Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Pragmatic leader who subscribes to our three-part strategy, GSD. Get shit done.
Yeah, look at he's rocking it. She's just crazy. I mean, they're so crazy. They're all crazy. These women they roll out here. The guys are effeminate and weird, and the women are crazy and like crazy eyes, witch-like. I mean, Jesus Christ. Okay, so there's just a mess. I'm just going to wrap this one up here. There's a lot more to say, but I'll just say it in the next video. But the dumbing down of the political system and the entertainment and all these things is just across the board. Well, then you're already screwed. Like if your people are getting stupider and less functional, and they lack the ability to see through the bullshit and see if people lying to them, then yeah, there's no hope, right? There's no hope, and in terms of saving the system, there's always hope in terms of your divine process and connecting to the divinity within you and following God's path. But for most people, that's just not on the table. Anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's Bar motto, definitely pointing for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.